December. So when you're presenting to the board or when you're presenting to the management, they want to see the performance or the trending. That means January, we notice there's an increase, then drop in February, then increase again in March, and then it's like, can say like a volatile. Volatile means fluctuated. Increase, decrease, increase, decrease, increase, decrease, increase. And apparently December has the lower sales. In the real working world, your manager will ask you why December has the lower sales. Because by right, December is Christmas. December is New Year Eve. Basically, most of the employees will take annual leave during December. But why December has the lower sales? This is where you need to prepare the story, you need to get the breakdown and so on. So what I'm going to do is, I'll go to this format your visual, and let me just go to data label. Okay, so the data label tells us, okay, what is the story? It's like 68, 66 million, 58 million, 64 million, and so on. So here we get to know what is the monthly performance. But what I want to do next is, I want to give a breakdown. Because now we notice that January got 66, February got 58. I want my manager to understand the story behind the number. How to understand the story behind the number? Let me click on metrics. So my dear friends, if you can see metrics, can you just type number 6 in the chat box? So metrics, if you know pivot table, in Microsoft Excel, there is a feature called pivot table. So if you know pivot table, then you can also learn Power BI, because in Power BI, we also have pivot table, but we don't use the terminology pivot table. We use metrics. So I'm going to click on metrics. So metrics will pop out over here. Metrics has rows, has columns, has values. So just say when I put the Apple product category over here, there's a word called Apple product. I drag it, I put over here. So you can see there got Apple Watch, here got iPhone, here got MacBook and other accessories. And then when just say I tick on total revenue, so you get to understand, okay, this is the details. But then when I put the month at the columns, you can understand. So apparently, okay, 66 million. So this is 66 million. 58 million. This is the 58 million. So this chart gives you a understanding what is the performance from January to December. This visual gives you an understanding what is the story behind the number, what is the breakdown. But before that, I need to educate something. You see here, there shows 66, 11, 69, 62. My manager don't want 66. My manager wants to be in this format. Sometimes you need to have the comma. We use the terminology called thousand separator. Again, I repeat, just say when I go to my Excel file, I type here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see, my manager, he don't understand. He don't know whether it's 1 lakh or 100,000 or 1 million. So what I'll do is, I will go here, I'll click on the comma. So, or some people will say thousand separator. I click over here, my manager can understand, okay, this comma indicates means there's a separation between the thousand and the hundreds. But over here, my manager don't know. You see here, my manager don't understand, like, is this 66 million? Is it 36 million? My manager don't know. So to avoid problem, I will click on this word. You don't untick or tick, you click on the word. When you click on the word, you just click over here, column tools. Can you see here thousand separator or the comma over here? If you can see the comma, can you type number 7 in the chat box? So you need to click on the column and you need to click on the comma. You will notice apparently there is a thousand separator. So here we can see the breakdown. Okay, so now I understand. In January, 66 million, but the main player is MacBook. In February, who is the lowest? Okay, we have 2 million, 32 million, but we notice there's a drop in iPhone, 17 million. There's a drop in Apple Watch. So we can get a understanding. If you look carefully, we can get an understanding. So let me just adjust down. Okay, but if you want to increase the size, what I'll do is, I'll just go here. Values, I'll increase to 12. So when it looks 12, it looks bigger. And then the column header, I will put here 12. So this is 12 and maybe I will align center. Okay. And then after that row header, I'll just put 12 as well. So it looks bigger. Okay. And then of course we can't see the December. Don't worry. What I'm going to do is I'll just want to remove the column subtotal. Okay. So now if you can see, this is the data. So you can just play around. Okay. So right now, if you notice carefully, this is how we can present the numbers. Maybe let me just increase the size, decrease the size one more time. So maybe I put here 11. Okay, so yeah, it looks a bit better. As you can see over here. So this one, this is the details, 48 million. Or maybe if you want to put 2000, two decimal places, you can actually go to your data label. You can go to your value over here. And then under the value, if you notice carefully, here the decimal places is auto. So I can just change here to 2. So right now, what if you see here is 48.91, 48.91, 62.19, 62.18. Of course, when you round off, you get 19. So if just say your manager can see the pattern. So other accessories, it is consistently about 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, 2 million. So that is not a significant variance for other accessories. But when we talk about MacBook we notice is between 20 and 30. iPhone is volatile between 10 million and 20 million. And we have Apple Watch, which plays around between 4 million and 7 million. So this is the total revenue. Of course, many customers buy iPhone, but when we talk from the perspective of revenue, we understand that iPhone is a MacBook is the big player. So right now, if just say your manager wants to understand, February is 32 million. What is the breakdown? So we can press right click. Okay. If just say you click over here, you just press right click. You will notice there's a word called show data point as table. Maybe your manager wants to know, okay, why here got 32? Because initially got 36. Why suddenly 32? So when you click over here, it will show you the details. So MacBook 1 to 2, February, Apple products, all these things you have over here. So, and then when you go back to report, and then when you just click here, or you can just click this to see in the focus mode. So it's up to you. How you want to present is actually up to you. If just say you don't really like this format, you can actually go to format your visual. Over here, there is a word called layout and style preset. So you can actually choose minimal. Minimal means it will change the format into this formatting. So it's up to you how you want to play around. Whether you want minimal or whether you want alternating rows or whether you want to choose in flashy rows, it's up to you actually. Okay, up to the manager because the manager sometimes they'll ask more the coloring and so on. So it's up to the manager. Okay, so now we have actually prepared the first page. The first page, what it shows us? It shows us a report. That means your manager, for the first 5 minutes, he can digest January, February, March. Okay, what is the movement? And then over here, he can digest the story behind the number. But if just say your manager wants to know the average, well, if you notice carefully, can you see this add further analysis? If you can see add further analysis, my dear friends, can you type number 8 in the chat box? If you can see this magnify glass over here. Thank you, Nagaraj. Thank you, Soumya. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Aishwarya. So what is the intention is, I want to show the average. So I click over here and then here we have minimum line, maximum line, average. So when I click average, I click add line, you will notice there is a dotted line. There is a dash line over here. So meaning to say we can study, okay, January exceed the average, February below average. And then we can see, okay, this is March exceed the average or roughly. So if you notice carefully from January to November, it's almost the average line. But for December, we notice that the data or the total revenue is below average. So this is where the manager will get concerned because apparently December will have a lot of holidays. But why we don't have more sales during December? This is where you need to prepare the questions, the story, the breakdown, the understanding, and so on. So from here, the data can convert to visual. The visual can convert into further understanding and analysis. And since we do have several locations, we can also choose slicer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on slicer over here. So we have a slicer. What is a slicer? A slicer is to select data, to make a selection. Meaning to say, this is a slicer. Just say I want to know by region. So I click the region. So if just say when I click APAC, it will show me the performance of APAC. I click Europe, it will show me the performance of Europe. So this slicer, what it does is, it can select data. It can even multi-select data. A slicer can multi-select data so that you can see the performance for the region. Or if just say you want to see in a different format, you can actually go to format your visual. You can go to slicer settings. You can click here, tile. So what it shows in tile means this is in a tile format. Maybe I'll just adjust this. So this is Africa, Americas, APAC, Europe, Middle East. Or if just say you want in the form of drop down. So this is drop down actually. So just say you want maybe in the form of Africa. So it will show you Africa and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this and put it over here. So here we have a region and I'm going to copy and paste. So here I'll put here middle. So this one, I don't want region because we already have. I'll just click on countries. So we have countries and then I'm copy and paste and I'll put it over here, unselect the countries and select cities. So you just say